Okay, so you position the camera like that, and smile, yeah. You pretend like you're happy. What about the elephant in the room? I'm going to die someday. No, it's not. I'm not going to. Half the people on Earth who've ever been alive are alive now, so I have about a 50-50 chance. Anyway, I was going to read this thing that I wrote, because then I wouldn't have to think about what to say, and so I did a trial run, and it was confusing. And then I decided I wouldn't do that, but I would talk about the teapot. And unfortunately, the whole story is not about the teapot, it's about the teacup. And I thought if I told you the story about the teapot and it was really about the teacup, and you would just kind of hang on to that mistake I'd made, I'd never forgive myself for such a silly error, and it wouldn't be good. So I'm going to try to tell you the story again, the story that makes no sense, but maybe does. So there was this brilliant student, and he knew everything about Zen, and so he goes to visit his teacher, and his teacher, in a regular Japanese kind of way, says, let's have some tea. So the teacher starts pouring the tea into the teacup, knowing that the student had a big problem. And the water goes into the teacup, and more water goes in. You know, in a tea ceremony, there's just enough tea for 3.5 sips, but he's filling it and filling it and filling it, and it soon runs over, and the student is really surprised. This is the student who understands everything, like most students. And so the student says, well, what's going on here? And the teacher says, it's like your mind. If it's filled, you can't put anything in it. And so that was the story. But it made sense, right? You know, you have to have an empty cup to put things in it. So I told my wife, she was getting ready to go to work, and she said, that makes no sense. So I thought, well, what does she know? So then I went to Pilates, and I told my Pilates teacher, and she said, oh, that makes no sense. The mind is like a sponge, and it can keep taking in things. It can keep taking things in. Which is all fine and good until I started washing my car afterwards, because there were some very ugly spots from something on it. And thick, tarry spots, unbelievable. And I used a sponge, and I just noticed the sponge wouldn't accept any more water once it was saturated. And then last night, I went to this thing we have called Urban Zen, and there was lots of talk about ultimate reality and enlightenment, which I tend to dismiss those things. And I mean, I think it's right here, not there. And so so that made me start thinking about the story about the cup, and then I was trying to reach for that word, and my Pilates teacher told me what it was, cleansing, which I've never been a big fan of, but I'm just wondering if rather than at schools they could have, rather than having these little machines, these little passages that see if you have like metal detectors, that's what they are. They would have showers, and these showers would take everything out of our mind, so we would go in with an open mind and hopefully not clutter it up.